Guess what? You're a bitch.
Mr.Bones.
What's up, fellow boners? Back at it once again to sit down in my throne of swamp ass to bring you another video. One of my most popular topics that I've discussed here on Uncle Boner's Entertainment Emporium Palooza is lost media. One of the most popular aspects of lost media in particular is a specific genre, that genre being lost pilots. Pilots, or pitch pilots, as some are preferably called, are essentially small test animations or live recorded footage to give investors or networks a good idea of how said show could potentially work and could be their next series. However, throughout the years, a lot of these pilots have never been aired, thus being considered lost media. Though, as I've already said, there are a lot of lost pilots that have accumulated over the years, and I simply don't have time to cover them all. However, we will be covering some of the most popular and, in my humble opinion, some of the most interesting, so let's get started. Here are some lost pilots that you might not have heard of. I couldn't really find an interesting way to end this segment, so just have this video transition that would have been considered epic in 2007. Well, it's time to strap on our adult diapers and binkies as we head back to 1997 on Playhouse Disney for the Bear in the Big Blue House pilot. This is the first case of tonight. Bear in the Big Blue House was one of my favorite shows growing up, so I felt like it'd be criminal if I didn't discuss its pilot in today's video. This case in particular is one of the more well-known lost pilots in the community, and for good reason. The Bear pilot has been sought after for more than over a decade, and the pilot is shown to have minor differences to the final product, such as different rooms and wallpapers being shown in Bear's house, as well as many other characters like Pip and Pop being brown instead of purple. The only proof of its existence, however, are a few screenshots and the show's logo shown on the Lost Media Wiki, though it's claimed that the pilot's plot was eventually reworked into a final episode of the show, titled Water, Water Everywhere, according to Noel McNeil, the puppeteer and actor who played Bear on the show. The Bear in the Big Blue House pilot is one that I expect to resurface sometime in the future. Other Playhouse Disney pilots, such as Stanley, have been openly uncovered by their creators, so I doubt copyright issues are really the main problem, though I'm sure Disney would have little issue with the original team sharing this pilot online. However, until the pilot does show up online, the Bear in the Big Blue House pilot will remain lost. Guys, I made a mistake. I made a really biased video defending Donkey Kong 64. I'm a no-good sinner, and I'm going to hell. Well, if I'm going down, I may as well discuss another pilot that also went down as well. Jimmy Two Shoes is another iconic case of lost media. Ironically, the final show was nowhere near as talked about, or interesting. Jimmy Two Shoes is a simple Flash animated cartoon about a boy named Jimmy who lives in the terrible town of Miseryville. The plot of Jimmy Two Shoes is simple and sweet, however its original concept was not. The original pilot, or in this case, test animation, a la Earthworm Jim, involved Jimmy getting hit by a bus and being sent to HE double hockey sticks on accident. What makes this funny is that Jimmy unironically finds hell to be this magical place, not fully realizing how terrible it actually is. This test animation, much like many others, has been heavily sought after for years, and for good reason. It's a simple case of people wanting something just because they can't have it, much like many other lost media cases. And what I mean by this is that Jimmy's pilot is currently being withheld by the investors who paid for it initially. Edward Kay and Sean Scott, the creators of the series, have claimed that they were not allowed to keep tests or make copies when developing the pilot, and that they were for investors' eyes only. But why I'm so confused at this fact is that the investors who produced this in the first place are, for some reason, scared of a test from an obscure early 2000s cartoon getting leaked. I don't understand that, or why it's such a big issue. And what's even more frustrating is that we don't even know who these investors are, and tracking them down has been next to impossible. Sean Scott claims it could have been folk over at WB, though we can't be for certain, and the final verdict on Jimmy as a whole currently is starting the search over from scratch. I haven't been too active in the search recently, so let me know in the comments below if any progress has been made since then. In fact, LSSQ made a video on it about a few years back, though I don't know if he's made any progress on it since either. I'll put a card up here for you to watch it later. But yeah, until we get more information on this test animation, Jimmy and his original test pilot will be lost in hell. Let's talk about some Nick lost media, shall we? Nickelodeon is notorious for some of the most wanted pieces of lost media.
And what better case to discuss tonight than Blueprints, the precursor to what would become Blue's Clues?
Kate? From Kate's Place on YouTube, linked down below in the description? What are you doing here in my YouTube video about cartoon Okay, yeah, I know. We plan this video like a few days ahead. Just go ahead and say your lines, Kate.
Like I mentioned earlier, Blueprints was the precursor to Blue's Clues and was filmed sometime in mid-1994. Over the years, the pilot has laid in infamy, being considered one of the holy grails of Nick lost media. Some footage of the pilot have been shown online, though, through some Nick documentaries for the 10th anniversary of the series, as well as an entire song from the pilot. Some notable differences from the pilot other than the name and its original logo was Steve. He wore a plain red shirt instead of his iconic striped green one.
Wow, that's really interesting, and something I totally didn't write already in the script. What are the whereabouts of this pilot? Has any search effort been made since 1994?
Several attempts have been made to track the pilot down, though our best currently is the creator of the series, Angela Santamero. As she stated on one of her Instagram posts, which showed a picture of her and Steve Burns during its filming, claimed that she still has a copy of it in her possession, though this is not a reason to reach out to her. It would be in our best interest to simply wait till the pilot resurfaces online.
Huh, well, it's good to know that, and very fascinating. I didn't really know much about Blueprints. Thanks for letting me know, Kate, and thanks for being a part of today's episode.
Sure thing, but does this mean you'll finally talk about the Lost Super Y pilot? After all, it was also created by Angela Santamero.
No. Before we discuss the final pilot of tonight, I'd like to mention a few honorable mentions. These are the ones I couldn't get to, or I was just too lazy to talk about them in this video. Perhaps we'll get to them next time. I don't even like Family Guy. There's a Lazy Town pilot? Okay, I've talked about this one more times than my feet have touched the floor. Yeah, that's right, there was a Mr.Bones pilot, and it sounded like I recorded it in a public restroom. That's not a pilot, that's just concept art. It is pretty cool though. Why is there a dog that looks like James Woods? Why is he next to a dollar store Jennifer Aniston? Okay, now that's just a camel. And with that said though, here is the final pilot of tonight. Okay, so I know some of you are going to call this one cheating, but just hear me out, okay? Meso Blues is a short film that Van Partible made in 1993 as a thesis for his senior animation class, which would eventually become the basis for the series Johnny Bravo. Meso Blues isn't just one of the most popular pieces of lost media, but it's also been considered a holy grail amongst the community. A pilot so infamous, so rare, that the only person that could possibly have a copy of it in their possession is Mr. Partible himself. The only footage that we've ever seen from it is from a Season 1 DVD bonus feature, specifically a documentary, which contained mute sections of the pilot, which was ripped by Yoshi Killer. Another thing of note is that there were also scanned animation cells found later online too, and on a podcast in January of 2022, Partible revealed that he owns the only VHS copy of the short film, and a digital copy on his hard drive. However, he has no plans to release it online due to his internal value of his growth as an animation artist. He also chooses to only show the film to either close colleagues or students participating in his animation classes. And despite Van's decision to have the pilot being kept behind closed doors, we must respect his wishes. As a cartoonist, if I had a pilot made for my college class and I wanted to keep it locked away, then that's my choice. Although there is a very good chance Cartoon Network or some other source could possibly leak the film online, because when it comes to lost media, crazier things have happened. However, it would be in our best interest to wait, because maybe one day Van Partible will release the pilot online. But until then, Meso Blues will remain a mystery. Thank you all so much for watching. Special thanks to Kate's Place for being featured in today's video. I have her channel link down below, so I suggest you go down there and check her out. She's definitely worth your time. With that said though, I'm Mr. Bones, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Take care.
Thank you for watching.